Good afternoon. Welcome to Cool Springs. Today is Wednesday, September the 10th, 2025, and this is our series, Life Lessons. Today, our life lesson is on Terah, the father of Abraham. Terah is mentioned several places in the Bible. In Genesis chapter 11, he's mentioned. Joshua chapter 24, verse 2 is going to mention Terah and describe him as an idol worshiper and a man who made idols for a living. He's also going to be mentioned in 1 Chronicles chapter 1, verses 17 through 27. There's some discrepancy depending upon whether scholars are using the Masoretic text of the ancient scriptures or whether they're using the Septuagint and the Samaritan Pentateuch as to how old Terah was when he died. The reason that's a puzzle to scholars is some of the texts list him as living to the age of 205, and others list him as living to the age of 145. The problem there is we know that when God called Abram to move out of Ur of the Chaldees in Genesis chapter 12, the instruction was very clear. Leave your country and your family and go to a land that I am going to show you. But yet what we learn from the Genesis 11 passage is that when Abram leaves Ur of the Chaldees, yes, his wife Sarah is going with him because God doesn't break up marriages, but his father Terah and his nephew Lot are also going with him. And that wouldn't square up with leaving your family behind, particularly if Terah is an idol worshiper. But we know that they move as far as the town called Haran, which is in what we would know today as modern-day Syria, and that Abram ultimately moves down into Canaan. The question is, did Abram go into Canaan before his father died or afterwards? We will probably make that at a later point in time a question about God and the Bible answer, because like I said, there's not a definitive answer, and scholars do debate on whether or not it would have been appropriate for Abram to have left his father in Haran and moved down into Canaan, or whether or not he waited until after his father passed before he moved. Because, and part of that is, as long as his father's alive, Abraham is not the head of the family. His father would be. The fact that Joshua records the fact that Abraham's father was a maker of idols for a living and an idol worshiper might be a reason why he would have left Ur of the Chaldees going up towards Canaan, because the Canaanites were worshiping a variety of gods, and it might have been a case of he wants to go and make money up in that area. But that we just simply don't know. The reason he's a life lesson today, to keep it focused just on that, is that he's somebody who's obviously acquainted with the fact that there is one God, because his son Abram has followed God's call to leave the land of his birth and go to the place where God's going to show him. But he doesn't go all the way with God. Just a few weeks ago, our pastor here at Cool Springs has been doing a series of sermons out of Genesis, and he made reference to the fact that Terah was somebody who went part way, but not all the way. Well, from what account we have here in Genesis and in the other scriptural text, is that the call to follow me and go to a land that I'm going to show you, where I'm going to bless you, was the blessing on Abraham's life. That doesn't mean God doesn't want the rest of his family to be blessed as well, but Abraham had a specific call to go and follow God so that God could use him as a vessel to reach the nations. Terah is like so many of the people in our day and time and throughout the ages who hear God's word and kind of go on the fringes, but not really putting their own faith and trust in God. That's a mistake you don't want to make. You don't want to let that be your life story, that you heard about God and that you decided you would kind of tag along, but never fully surrender your life to God, never fully worship God, always keeping one foot in the world and one foot into the kingdom. You can't do that. You have to be all in or out. And so that's today's life lesson from Terah. And like I said, we will probably at some point in the future make the discussion about how old Terah was when he died, because it is important to the story of Abraham as one of our questions about God in the Bible. Thanks for watching.